It's time to pick over the skeleton of the bone spirit. Hello everyone, and welcome back down here to the Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. Today we are going to be going over the bone spirit for the first edition Pathfinder Shaman. Now, you might have noticed that between the intro part of this video and the thumbnail that my most adorable co-host has wandered off. Well, he is joining the mistress of the Gamer's Den, the headmaster herself, and they're actually just a little bit behind me, but have requested to remain out of frame for now. So, we're going to start diving into everything here. It's actually a fairly interesting one, although in comparison to some of your other options, the bone spirit really isn't super great. It's not bad. It's not bad at all, but it definitely doesn't fit with the build we're going for, and you do kind of give up a lot that the other options really will help to supplement just about any kind of build. But before we get into all of that, if you're new here to the channel, go on down there, hit the subscribe button, and become a regular member here at the Gamer's Den. Or if you've already gone on ahead and listed yourself on such an incredible roster of legendary heroes, then go on down to hit the like button and share the video far and wide. But now let's start digging into this here. And to kick things off, we have the bonus spells that you get for selecting your spirit. And at first level, you get Cause Fear. Not great. Second level is False Life. Third level, you'll get Animate Dead. At fourth level, you get Fear. Fifth level is Slay Living. Sixth level is Circle of Death. Seventh level is Control Undead. Eighth level is Horrid Wilting. Ninth level is Wail of the Banshee. Now you may see that some of these have a little bit of a weird setup in their ratings. They're like Control Undead. That really just kind of depends, because if you're not really dealing with a whole lot of undead creatures, then that bonus spell is functionally useless to you, or is circumstantial at best. But in campaigns that feature undead creatures, then you're going to get a lot more mileage out of it, and it's going to be incredibly useful. And you'll see that come up a lot overall as we go over this spirit and its various options. Now, going on from there, we have the hexes, starting off with Bone Lock. Target creature within 30 feet with a fortitude save or be staggered for 1 round. 8th level, the duration increases to 1 round per level, but with a fortitude save each round to end the effect. By 16th level, though, the target is only allowed the initial fortitude save. Now, fortitude saves tend to be one of the highest saves and most frequently highest save out there. But even still, having a target be staggered is useful. It's just not useful to have it for 1 round. By the time this hits 8th level is when it really gets to be useful. Now, going on from there, we have Bone Ward. Ward target creature including self with flying bones that give a +2 deflection bonus to armor class for 1 round a level. At 8th level, the ward increases to +3, lasting for 1 minute. At 16th level, this increases to a +4 bonus and lasts for 1 hour, and it cannot be used on the same target for 24 hours after. So this is bad all the way around. 1 deflection bonuses, that's your rings of protection. They can't stack together, only the higher number will be present. Then it's the duration. The duration is terrible. 1 combat at best. Or if you get to the 1 hour duration, a couple of combats maybe. But this is just bad. Don't pick this one up. Now, going on from there, we have Deathly Being. If the shaman is a living creature, they react to positive and negative energy as an undead creature, meaning that positive energy will hurt them, negative energy is going to heal them. If already undead or has the negative energy affinity, they gain a +1 channel resistance, which, great, whoop-de-doo too, it's not super great. At 8th level, if a living creature gain a +4 bonus on saves versus death effects and energy drain. If undead, channel resistance increases to +2. Then, when we hit 16th level, if you are a living creature, you take no penalties from energy drain effects. Though, if you accumulate enough negative levels from energy drain effects that match or exceed your hit dice or your total levels, then you die. You're gonna die from that. But after 24 hours, negative levels are removed without additional saving throws. And if you're undead, channel energy resistance increases to +4, which, again, not bad, but it's also not super great. And really, I don't know why you'd really want to go with this one in most campaigns unless you're playing in an evil campaign or with other evil characters with easy access to channeling negative energy. But if you're the caster, if you're the party caster, you're the one with the negative energy spells. All the way around, this doesn't go super great unless, again, you're in an evil campaign featuring a fair bit of undead as well, and you're going up against creatures or characters with channel energy abilities that would normally be harmful to you, or at least if you were undead. So again, this one is definitely very campaign specific overall, but in that circumstance, this gets to be a pretty solid ability. Then we move on yet again to Fearful Gaze. Target one creature in 30 feet for a will save, or they'll be shaken for 1 round. Not great right there, but at 8th level, this becomes Frightened. At 16th level, this becomes Panicked. This is a mind-affecting fear effect, and a creature affected by this hex can't be affected for 24 hours, so great, that's not very useful. The duration being only 1 round also really tanks this. I mean, the Frightened and Panicked effects, great, but you're better off just building into being an Intimidate build at that point, if that's what you really want to do. Now we have Gravesight. For 1 round a level per day, the Shaman can tell if creatures for 30 feet that are in view within their line of sight are living, undead, wounded, dying, dead, poisoned, or diseased. Again, I mean, this isn't super great. I mean, you have much better hexes as options, and this doesn't really do a lot for you, and the duration's also not great. Another one that's worth skipping. Now, your spirit animal, on the other hand, the spirit animal gives off a ghostly glow and is nearly transparent. They are under a constant blur effect with a caster level equal to shaman level, which is whoop-de-doo. A higher caster level doesn't really do anything to boost this except for the duration, except the duration is already constant, so that part does nothing. But the fact that it's got a blur effect is great. A 20% miss chance for one of the most important parts of your class, that's great to have. Now, for the spirit abilities, again, we come back around to where they're not great on their own except in some circumstances. So if it's the appropriate kind of undead themed or evil campaign, then you're going to do great. Otherwise, well, you have Touch of the Grave. Standard action for a melee touch attack with negative energy that deals 1d4 plus 1 for every 2 shaman levels. This, of course, heals undead and is usable 3 times plus your charisma modifier per day. At 11th level, any weapon wielded is treated as an unholy weapon. So again, you can see where, if you're in an evil campaign, this is going to actually be really handy, especially if there's lots of undead or you're treated as an undead creature. So this will actually pair off nicely with the hex from before, where you're a deathly being. That will actually make this much more useful, and those will combo together pretty nicely. So right there, it does a lot to inform you as to what this is going to be used for. But moving on from there, now we go to Greater Spirit ability, Shard Soul. Gain damage reduction 3 unless it's magic, which means that this is going to be regularly overcome as you advance in level. But damage reduction 3 is nice, especially since it increases by 1 for every 4 levels beyond 8th level. As a standard action, jagged bone fragments can burst from the shaman in a 10-foot radius, dealing 1d6 piercing damage for every 2 levels with a reflex save for half, and it's usable 3 times per day with 1d4 rounds between uses. My god, it's another ability that just really yo-yos back and forth in its quality. And again, this is another one that just kind of shows that this is more for like an NPC, or if you have this, when you access this ability, this goes further to putting you on chaff duty. You're there to kind of sweep the board clear of just the regular minions, the regular NPC creatures and targets, the low-level things, because it's going to be the lower-level things that are mostly going to be affected by this, because lower-level creatures, they're less likely to have magic weapons or any kind of enchantments or spell enhancements to help their weapons bypass this damage reduction, making you more survivable against swarms of chaff. The jagged bone fragments bursting out of you in a 10-foot radius. That's great for chaff targets. The 1d6 points of piercing damage for every 2 levels. Again, that's a low amount of damage, but that's perfect for chaff creatures. And again, same thing with the reflex saves. Lower level creatures are going to have the poorer reflex saves overall, usually. And so that makes them more vulnerable to this, whereas more serious targets, more level appropriate targets, are not going to be as phased by this. I mean, the fact that it's not even magic damage, if they have their own damage reduction, they're going to be shaving damage off of this. And if they have any kind of a decent reflex save, they're going to overcome that pretty consistently, reliably. So again, it's a neat ability. I think it's great for certain situations, but be aware of that. The damage reduction is going to be nullified by most of your heavier hitting targets, most of your more important targets, or those targets will have means of helping the rest of their minions bypass it by making their weapons count as magic weapons. Alright, so moving on to your true spirit ability, Shedding Form, and this one's actually really cool. You become incorporeal as a standard action with all weapon attacks considered as having ghost touch, and it's usable for 1 round per shaman level, but it doesn't have to be consecutive. And by the time you get this, that's going to be plenty of rounds and will be with some judicious and careful usage, you can shepherd this along to be pretty useful over the course of the adventuring day, and then, have it refresh the next day. So being incorporeal gives you a lot of defensive options, and the fact that this takes it into account and allows your weapons to be able to still deal damage as counting for ghost touch, which will help to bypass a lot of armor and stuff like that. That's going to be great for you to have. And really this leans this again more into being this definitely shifts everything for this class being a melee focused build. Like, you're expected to get into the midst of things, you're scything your way through all the regular minions, you become incorporeal, go over and start threatening the heavier hitting targets. That's what this class, or what this particular spirit build is going to be for. Now, for your 20th level, your capstone spirit ability, for your manifestation, once a round you can cast bleed or stabilize as a free action. The fact that those spells are solid to just okay doesn't matter as much because it's a free action each and every round. If reduced below 0 hit points, automatically stabilize yourself. You can cast Animate Dead at will without having to pay material component costs, with the usual hit dice control limit. And once a day, cast Power Word Kill with the targeting a creature with 150 hit points or fewer. Normally the limit on that is 100 hit points, so that's a significant upgrade right there. And this is the other part of the Bone Spirit, is that being able to cast Animate Dead at will. So remember what I said before about how you're going to be more leaning into clearing out the regular mooks, the minions, the chaff, just the regular run-of-the-mill minions that your enemies are going to have thrown at you. This lets you start to turn the tide of that battle really fast and shift the action economy towards your party. Being able to animate so many undead minions helps to level that playing field in terms of numbers, and every attack that goes towards one of these random undead minions is an attack not going towards you or the rest of the party. Damage dealt to them doesn't matter because, well, it's not being dealt to you or the rest of the party. So this is actually a pretty solid ability. It's not as good as some of the others that we looked at, but this right here is pretty cool. And it is a 20th level ability, so, a lot of the regular undead that you might be animating at this point, maybe not super threatening towards them, but still, you can have them shift around to eat attacks of opportunity, get into flanking positions to help out your rogue or your vigilante or any other class that might have precision-based damage, sneak attack damage, stuff like that. So all the way around, pretty neat ability there, but it's only these last handful of abilities and some of the later level spells that you get as a bonus that really help this class overall. And again, if you're in a campaign where you're playing evil characters, there's lots of undead, or you're going to be making lots of undead, then the Bones Spirit is really going to shine. But outside of that, it's maybe not the best. Even if you're going with a total melee build, it's not going to be the best in comparison to other things, because even if you go with Restoration Spirit, you're going to have access to a lot of healing that you could just apply to yourself and really keep yourself in the fight that way. But I have to say that even though mechanically this isn't the best, thematically, what I see picturing this after reading everything, this is just really cool. I picture something just utterly, entirely badass in my mind. But the mechanics don't really quite work out super great for it. But what do you think? My apprentice storyteller certainly thinks otherwise. He disagrees with me there, but let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Did you like today's video? Did you dislike it? Let me know your thoughts either way so we can engage in discussion, and remember to hit those like or dislike buttons. And also, if you're new here to the channel, go on down there, hit the subscribe button, and become a regular member here at the Gamers Den. But with all that said, I've been your host, Jordan, your Master of Lore and Storyteller Extraordinaire. Thank you all so very much for your time, and you all have yourselves a good night.